So in this video, I want to talk about the connectors used in the FPV hobby. Those of us who have started out that have not had help from a friend know the pain of trying to figure out really what connector goes where and what size to use and all that. So in this video, I'm going to explain the basic connectors that we'll use, and I'll go into a little bit about them and why they're used specifically, if there's a real telling reason. And this is just going to be like a quick tips video, a little 2-3 minute video, very basic editing. So just a quick reference video or whatever for those of you who are new that are starting out. And if you're a veteran in this hobby and you have more connectors that you want to add to this video, go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know, because these are the ones I use commonly, and there's that. So but the first one and the most well-known is the XT60. This is the male portion. And you always want to put the male portion on the non-powered side, and the reason being is this. It's very easy to drop something inside of this connector or touch it up against something, and if these two arc, and this is the battery side, poof, magic. So the reason it's the 60 just means the amperage that this thing is supposed to take before it melts. So there's that. On the battery side, this is the female side, and if you notice, I can take this and I can't arc, okay? Even if all right, no bad is gonna come from this. And some of you are probably really squeamish on the other end, and this is a 6S battery, so that would cause some problems, but you can't arc this thing. So that's why we put the female end on the battery side. So that's that. And just so you guys know, like, this is that's a fully charged battery. So that's the importance of putting the right end on the right side. I don't know how to better explain that than doing that with a freaking screwdriver. That's probably a really bad idea. But anyway, that's an XT60. While we're on that trend, we do have smaller ones. This is an XT30 if I put them side by side, and this is supposed to carry 30 amps. But there's a significant difference in size. So that's the difference between an XT60 and an XT30. So the XT60s, these are good for your 5-inch quads. You can probably put them down on your 4-inch quads. 3-inch, you might want to look to these guys. This is the XT60, and this is really a little bit too small for a 3-inch quad, this battery. I think a 650 or an 800 or something like that would be better suited for it. But that's the female side, and again, the male side here. And they have the flat side and kind of a rounded side. You can see it better here. So you can keep polarity straight. The positive side is always on the flat side. So, but those are the two main battery connectors. So if you're building your quad and you want, I'd say probably a 4-inch to, you can run up to probably a 8-inch quad and run these. And they do make like an XT90. At that point, you can jump up or not, whatnot. But so there's those. Now let's get into some bigger stuff here, and this is more just because I have it available to me. Most of you are never going to use these connectors, but these guys here, and I have a video denoted straight to these guys. I'll put the link right there. These are AS150s. These are, if you're going to run X class, this is the stuff that you're going to want to use. And we always put the female side on the battery. And I'm not going to do this trick again because this is there's a lot more power in this guy. This is a 4,000 milliamp versus the other one that I was screwing around with is about the quarter of the size at a 1,300. But anyway, here's the male side, here's the female side, and these actually have a anti-spark. That's what the AS stands for. They have an anti-spark feature on the male end, and as you can see, this is just a sliced piece of brass that kind of fits into. So on this side, if I unscrew this, I can show you there's an anti-spark feature here which keeps you from getting full contact before you have enough contact. So when you plug this in, it doesn't spark in your face, because you will get a lot. I mean, this is going on a 12S beast, and for those of you that don't know, 12S fully charged on 12S, that's 4.2 times 12 cells. That's over 50 volts. So that's going to make a huge spark, and the amount of amps. These things, AS150, the 150, yes, that stands for 150 amps. It's a big boy. So there's that. While we're still kind of on batteries, this we normally call this a balance lead. This is likely a JST, which I believe stands for Japanese solderless terminal. But there's no... JST is confusing as hell, and there's no getting around that. There's like 90 different JST connectors. This just happens to be a 7-pin JST connector. We call it a balance connector. A 6S balance connector is probably what you'll find it marketed as. And as you can see, it's got the 6 different cells and a regular lead. So that's that, and most of our batteries have that. As you can see here, this is a 3S balance connector, and over here we have another 6S balance connector, and these are used to charge your batteries. So you're going to want to plug this guy in and plug in your balance, and basically what this does is it sends current into the battery, and then it monitors on this, and then anytime one cell gets more than another cell, it will siphon off a little bit so we can charge all the cells at the same time to the same level. What you want to not do is end up charging one cell, say fully charged, and then one's only half charged. What will end up happening is the fully charged one will now try to charge the half charged one, and it might exceed the voltage or amperage capabilities of the wiring inside of the battery, and you will end up with a fire. So that's why we balance charge. But anyway, this is a connector video, so let's continue on that. Then we got these guys, and I just tossed a flight controller here because it's a piece of... I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Yeah, oh, here it is. This is also a JST connector, and this is for a 2S configuration. This is a 1S battery, and I've got the other one over here. But this is a JST 2-pin. I believe this is a JST 2.0. And as you can see, once again, we put the male end on the non-powered side and the female end on the battery side. And with many of these connectors, you're probably looking at, I'll go back to this guy quick. Show you on the red side because it's a little easier to see. You might think that, well, this is the male end, it goes into the female end. But what we're doing with any of these connectors, so we're looking at the lowest common denominator. That is the male part going into the female part. This is just a plastic shroud. And the same goes with these guys here, where, oh, well, this looks like the female because this plugs into this. But that's not the case. If we look in here, there's actually 2 little pins. Well, those are the 2 male pins that go into the female ports on this. So if you're ever confused as to what side, you want to look at those. Find out where the pins are. So there's that. So yeah, JST 2.0. if you're going to be running, this is for a micro quad. This is a 28.5 millimeter flight controller, and it's powered by, again, two JST 2.0s, and as you can see, they're wired in series so that these batteries, they become not the 4.2, but they become 8.4 volts. So that's that. So that's basic battery connectors. Now there are other connectors. So if we get up close here, these are also JST connectors, and I believe this is a 5-pin. Yeah, this is a 5-pin JST, and then these are all non-standard. So usually what happens, this one's on a flight controller, this one's on a VTX. The ones on a flight controller, if they're equipped, usually they'll give you a pigtail filled with wires, and then the other end is blank with just the connectors, and then they'll give you a multitude of other connectors to try to figure out which one you want to go to your, as you can see there's another connector there, which you want to use to go to your PDB ESC combo. I typically don't like to run these just for the basic fact is they're usually fairly loose. The ones on the VTX are a little bit better. As you can see, they're a little, the pins are a little bit stronger, they're bigger, there's more surface area. Something like this, I always have trouble with these. You'll end up with like a tweaky motor, or just one that'll lag back or whatever. This particular quad flies great. I don't have that issue, so I can't say they're all bad, but there are some bad. So the other connector that we have on this that everybody who's going to use is right here, is the micro USB, and that is to plug your flight controller in. And that's something that we don't need to deal with. It's already on the flight controller, so that's not something you're going to be buying separate. Same thing with like these, you're not going to be buying these separate. They come on the component that you're going to need. It's really just the battery cables that we're going to need. Same thing here. We've got I don't even know how many pin that is. It's like a tiny little 8-pin. This is probably also a JST. And there we go. But in typical fashion here, I like to solder direct, so I didn't even bother with that guy. So some of the other connectors we'll deal with maybe are these 4mm banana clips. And these typically go into, depending on which kind of charger you have, they'll go into something like this, and they just fit straight in. Some chargers don't have these, mine do, so I have a bunch of these laying around. While we're going at chargers, it's possible to have a Tamiya, but this is more for airsoft. This is not for mini quads. But just in case, if you've never seen one before, that's a Tamiya connector. And this is the female side, and it's got the little ratchet style clip on there. The other style we'll have here, this is a Dean's connector. And as you can see, it's just one straight up and down, one sideways. And again, this is another airsoft style connector. We're not going to find this in mini quads. But some LiPos do have them on there, so it does. I guess it, you know, they're here. I might as well show you them. Then we have balance leads. These are just extension leads, and these have balance plugs in them. I use these sometimes just to keep the balance board, and I'll show you that. Just to keep the balance board, or if I want to plug in a single battery into a fireproof case, I'll extend from the balance board my wiring lead directly to the battery. And these are all balance leads here. So 6S, and then it's broken down 2, 4, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's that. I believe I showed you that earlier. This is a JST connector. This is the charger side. It's got 2 little tiny pins in there. And then a couple other connectors that I failed to show you is this one here. This is a SMA connector. If I can get this camera to focus. This is an SMA connector. And as you can see, it's got a little male pin sitting in the middle there. You can have an RP SMA, where instead of that male pin, that would be the female side with the screw-on end. So just be very aware that that exists, RP or regular SMA. These are regular SMA. This is for antennas. The other thing you could have is right here, and I'll throw up a picture, a close-up picture of what that is. This is a UFL connector. And the other style antenna connector is this one here. This is a MMCX. And this is probably the most common for like your 5-inch, 6-inch, 7-inch builds. The earlier stated UFL is more of a smaller type quad. Your 3-inch and below, you'll see that a lot on. And you could have an MMCX or a UFL on either quad. It's just that's the more used ones I see is like 3-inch and below. Some use the UFL, and then like 3-inch and above, they'll use the MMCX. I like to use the MMCX on whatever I can possibly use. Those are just some of the basic connectors that we come across in this hobby that, you know, if you're building for your first time, hopefully that helps you out. And again, those were mostly battery connectors, but I mean, that's what we deal with. So hopefully that clears things up. I know many of you have had that question, and I apologize. I know I promised one of you subscribers this video, and it's probably been a couple of months now, so I'm sorry about that. I totally forgot. I should be taking notes sometimes, but there's just a lot going on in the past couple of months. So, but yeah, so I hope that helps you out. And you know, if you've been here and you've been building quads for a while and you've still stopped by to check this video out and you're still this far into the video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. The longer view times in my videos, the more people get to see them. So I really appreciate you guys helping out. That's a real big thing here. My view times are doing pretty well. I wish they were better, but I can't complain too much. So, but anyway, with that, I hope this helps you out. And if it has, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. And if you haven't done it already and you're interested in more FPV videos, I do very few flight videos, but I do quad builds, tutorials. I do little quick videos like this that just kind of tell you what's going on with the components. And occasionally, you know, if you guys have a specific video you want to watch, I will do my best to make it for you. So the other big thing that we do here on this channel is we do component tests. I like to do VTX tests and show you guys what these things are actually putting out. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and punch that subscribe button, because you only get to do it once and it's fun. And I'll catch you later. Peace.